Good morning, class.
Good morning.
Okay, this morning we're going to do a really cool experiment, but first I need 2 volunteers, and I've got one David and one Goliath. Okay, and don't worry, you'll still be alive at the end of my my experiment. My first volunteer needs to be well, let's just put it this way: you need to be a fighter, but you need to be a smart fighter. And are you a smart fighter? Okay, good. And let's see, over here, and you're going to stand on my right over there on the table, and I'm going to give you my jacket because it's going to get a little messy over there. And for our second volunteer, David over here, she is going to be the smallest person in our class today, and there's a reason for that, because God doesn't always pick the strongest to win. Alright, so now let's go over there and let's move over to the experiment table.
And today we're having Sabbath school in the outdoors, and we're doing this because we have a lesson.
Josh, I need you over here on my right, and
that gets a little bit
messy. You might want to bring your chairs over.
Oh.
For those who aren't behind this table. And I'm going to give you some goggles. I'm going to need goggles too. Here's your goggles. And you're going to need some, I need David over here.
David.
Okay, put your goggles on. I'm going to give you your gloves. These gloves don't fit my big hands, but they will fit yours. Guarantee.
That's David.
Okay.
This is Goliath.
So they don't blow away. I'll put the rest in my pocket. Alright, now let's retell the story of David and Goliath before we start. Can anyone tell me the story of David and Goliath? Probably already heard it. Go ahead.
There's a big guy and he was challenging someone to fight him.
Yeah, the Philistines were wanting to make war with God's people, the Israelites. And they came around to this idea that maybe they just have one of their men fight one Israelite. And that way, you know, because of the way that they fought head on like this, fighting each other like this, only one would die instead of many, and it was winner take all. So they decided that that's what they would do. Now, this doesn't sound like too bad of a war. Why not have one fighter win, winner take all? But you know what happened next? Yeah, the Israelites saw the champion who the Philistines were going to put up against them, and it was like the biggest, strongest, most massive man they'd ever seen. He was over 8 feet tall, and his name was Goliath. So make your meanest face. Yeah, like that. He wasn't any sweetheart, that's for sure. Now, not just that, he was trained as a fighter all his life. And so he could easily squash them like a grape. Just take a grape like this and you squish it. And it's just that easy for you to just squash anybody. You didn't know that, but that's how it is with you, Goliath. You could just squash people. Now, David was not a soldier. David was a shepherd boy. And he was the youngest of his whole family. And so he was like, meh, meh, compared to Goliath. Okay? He was a kid just like you guys. And but David knew that because he had faith, that he would be protected. So he felt the courage and strength that comes from knowing God. So when David and Goliath met on the battlefield, Goliath came charging with his sword. Okay, pretend in slow motion that you're charging David with a sword. Okay, and David secretly had already picked up some rocks. How many rocks had David picked up?
9.
That's right, he had picked up 5 smooth rocks from a stream, and he had this sling and he was going like this. So David, go like this, because you have this sling, and the rock is inside it. So as he's coming to you, in fact, here, for the film's sake, you be over here, right about here, and you're standing there facing him, and you've got the sling, and you got the sword. Go! And stop! Because you don't really want to hurt. Okay, and then, even when you're small and you feel like you're powerless, if you have God on your side, nothing can stop you. You can't lose. Maybe you're just your friend had, in fact, like in modern day here, maybe your friend needs a doctor or else the person will die. How about maybe your only kid and you want to help your friend who was in this car accident, or maybe some parents at home who have been razzing you and you need some help, but there's nobody really to turn to and talk to, and you feel helpless, like David might. And when you try to stop your parents, it only gets worse. Maybe you have even had an older kid picking on you at school. You tried to talk to him, but things only got worse. And in any of these situations, you feel powerless and out of control. Like maybe David. After all, you're only a kid, and you're living in an adult world. But I tell you the truth, you can all become powerful if you know God. All you have to do is ask for his help. So how do we ask for God's help? Anybody know? Yes. Yeah, you just pray. It's really simple. You just pray, and we ask God to help us, and we get strength and courage, just like David will. Could we fight giants? You can with God's help. But kids, just like you, can also have a great impact just by praying. If you just pray, sometimes you don't have to do anything. Other people act out for what you prayed for, and the thing becomes accomplished. So how do people, even kids, get strength to beat large obstacles like Goliath? Well, we plug into the power of God through prayer. The plugging into God, it goes like this. Here's God, and you're plugging into him, and you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Don't believe me? Well, today we're going to have a similar battle as David versus Goliath, except they will not be fighting each other with swords and rocks. You'll be fighting each other with Diet Coke. We'll see what happens when it bubbles over. We may even have shaken, have you shaken a can once in a while, Josh? A can of Coke and then opened it up, see what happens? Okay. Yeah, I think we all have. Haven't you all done that before?
Yes.
What a waste! You could have been drinking it, but you wasted it just to see. Because your curiosity got the best of you. Well, today's challenge is to see who can shoot the weapons. Who can shoot the weapons the farthest? Well, let's see. Will it be the strongest person on earth? The tallest person on earth? The biggest person on earth? Or will it be the little sheep herder, the smallest of the family, with a high voice, but does know God? On my left we have David, the smallest person of her family, his family, whatever. And yet hopefully with the power of God, he will prevail. Well, now let's just see how powerful someone can be. We're going to shake this. Shake. And you may want to go back just a little.
Yes, I do.
All right, now don't open it up yet. Put it right here, and when you open the top up, I want you to take this strength and just squeeze it as hard as you can, Goliath. Okay? Now squeeze it with your hand. Take the top off.
Don't point it to the people. Point it away. Point it away from the people. Okay,
All right.
that's good.
Okay, squeeze it all out, Goliath. Remember, you're the strongest person.
You can
on
put
earth.
it on the grass. On the grass.
Well, when it first came out, it was like, okay, it looks like it could be, you know, it could be. All right, there it goes. And that's what's left. He crushed it, just like he crushed the grape. It smells good? All right. So the mighty Goliath, champion of the Philistines, crushed the weapon while it was aiming at David. But see, he didn't know God, so he just did it by himself. The man way, and man's way is not always as good as God's way. If you hook up man's way and God's way, really good things happen. So hopefully David has the power of God working with her, and she's going to show you now what happens if you pray and have the power of God. All you have to do is switch on the power of prayer right here, turn it, and back away.
Like, which way?
Well, when I did it, I just went like, you pull. Can you pull it? Yeah, just pull the red thing.
Okay, back away.
And the power of God added with the people who pray really make a weapon. And nobody could defeat him. In fact, you were crushed. Go away. Hey, don't forget your connection with God. Here's what man does. And you saw what it did. And it wasn't all that. But when you put prayer with God, 5 prayers, like 5 stones that God helped him pick. And with those 5 stones, it was like 10 times whatever man could do. So keep your connection with God. Keep your connection with God. And what would be the 3rd rule? Keep your connection with God. And you'll do absolutely wonderful things. Whatever your problems are at school, whatever your problems are with parents, whatever your problems are with family, or your friends, whatever. You're not alone. Let me look at this. So, tell me what you learned today. Yes, Eris.
David died and we're all asleep.
That David what?
David died and you're all asleep.
Yep. What else?
With God in you, you can defeat somebody.
It doesn't matter their size. Does it matter how smart they are?
No.
Does it matter if they're the biggest or best on earth?
No.
No. Who is the biggest and best of all? God. So take it from a mad scientist who's mad about Jesus. Keep your connection with God and pray to him every day, and you surrender your life with him, and you will be saved, and you will be a successful, happier person. And that is it for today.
I have a question.